This experience of having a divine connection to the universe and receiving guidance and receiving messages and receiving wisdom and moving in that way and feeling directed and guided and certain no matter what, even when things aren't working out for you, you trust that you are in the right direction. You're on the right path because you have a certainty and a knowing that the universe has your back. That's what it means to be a super attractor.
Big show today, guys.
Happy to be with you.
Gabrielle Bernstein, a role model for a new generation of spiritual seekers.
So let's start there. Let's tune into the energy of this room. Let's bring this connection in here now so that we can feel that group connection, so that we can release the traffic, release the day, release our agenda. Close your eyes and take a deep breath in and release. And take another deep breath in and release. And honor all the feelings that are up for you in this moment now. Breathe into that space in your body where you feel those feelings, and on the exhale, let them go. Calling on the guidance of the highest truth and compassion to enter into this space today, to hold us, to protect us, to guide us, and to open us up to what is of the highest good for all. What did you breathe that in? Breathe into that space in your heart that knows there is a gentler, softer way. Breathe into that place of knowing that got you here tonight. Breathe into that inner wisdom that has been beckoning you to listen. And breathe into that desire that you are so ready to receive. And take a deep breath in and release. When you're ready, open your eyes to the room. So I dedicated this book to my son, Oliver. And as many of you know, if you've been reading my books or watching my talks, you know that it took me 3 years to conceive my son. And in that time, I went through a lot of discomfort. I went through a lot of shaming of myself, feeling separate, alone, not good enough. Why isn't my body working? Why can't I have this thing that I so long for? Feeling jealousy every time I'd go on social media and see other women with their babies and their bumps and the whole thing, and feeling that separation deeply. But even while I felt that separation, I also had some wild moments of synchronicity and tremendous guidance along the way, the most incredible guidance along the way. And that guidance began to really kick up in the fall of 2017. And I live most of the time in the countryside, so I do a lot of my manifesting when I'm driving, especially when it's this season and the foliage is out and it's just like epic yellow and orange and red and pink, and it's just unbelievable colors, and I just drive. And so I drive up these roads and no one's around, and I'm looking to the right and I'm looking to the left, and I'm feeling that energy of this beautiful foliage. I'm feeling this greatness and this gratitude and this appreciation for being able to live in a community like this. I'm listening to my mantra music, and I'm just driving and enjoying and feeling good and feeling good and feeling good. When all of a sudden, I have this sense that there's a baby in the back seat. And I start to feel the presence of a child in the back seat of my car. And tears start to well up in my eyes, and I start to feel so connected to this experience. When all of a sudden I hear this inner voice say to me, "The baby is coming in March." And I was like, whoa, March, okay, March is pretty soon. I'll take March. All right, I could do that. I start doing the math and looking at my schedule. Okay, March could work for me. Yes. And then I start to really see myself getting into that whole hook of oh my God, now it's gonna happen. So I said, okay, universe, you know what, universe? If this is indeed the path, show me a sign. And I want you to show me a sign of lilies if this is indeed the path for me. So I let go and I allow. A week later, I get this letter in the mail, and the letter has this beautiful angel card inside of it. And it's an angel card with an image of Archangel Gabriel. Archangel Gabriel is typically depicted holding lilies. And in this case, he was. I turn over the card, and the reader that had sent me this gift, it was a lovely spirit junkie out there, sent me this gift, and he said, "I don't know why, Gabby, but I thought this was for you." And I was like, "Yeah, man, it is. Thank you." I got some lilies, okay. And then I continue on, and I'm getting closer to March, and I'm feeling March coming around, and I'm like, March. My baby's coming in March, right? Feeling it. And March rolls around, and it's early March, and I'm not pregnant. And so here I was again, really in that desperation, in that sadness, in that discomfort, in that shame. And it was worse this time because this time I was really relying on the universe. And I believed that I was being guided. So I sat on my husband's lap in his office, and I started crying in his arms and just really just let it out, just let it all out, and just kept saying, why isn't it happening? Why can't we have a baby? What's wrong with me? When all of a sudden, my phone that was sitting on his desk starts playing a song out of nowhere. And you know when your electronics do weird things and you just like grab them, and you're like, whatever, you just turn it off, and you're like, that's weird. So I went to go turn off the phone. When I look closer and I start to hear the lyrics of the song. Way go, Lily. Way go, Lily. I look even closer, and I look at the name of the song, and the name of the song is Way Go, Lily. And the singer keeps repeating it, way go, Lily, over and over and over. I look even further, and I look at the phone, and I notice that the album title is called I See the Sign. You can't make this up, people. You can't make it up. So I'm like, okay, universe, thank you. I got the message. At which point I stopped crying, and I started letting tears of joy move through me. And I said, okay, you know what? Zach, let's let this go. Universe, I let this go. Whatever timing it is, I know I'm being guided. I feel that guidance so closely. Just show me what you got. April rolls around, and I was pregnant. And then I did the math, and I started to figure out what day did I conceive? I conceived the last day of March. This experience of having a divine connection to the universe and receiving guidance and receiving messages and receiving wisdom and moving in that way and feeling directed and guided and certain no matter what, even when things aren't working out for you, you trust that you are in the right direction, you're on the right path because you have a certainty and a knowing that the universe has your back. That's what it means to be a super attractor. And a lot of people, I've been doing all these interviews, and every time I sit down for an interview, somebody's like, what does it mean to be a super attractor? And I respond by saying, it means that you're committed to feeling good. And the next question they ask me is, why did you write this book? And I say, because I wanted to feel good. And it felt so good to write this book. I wrote this book while I was pregnant with my son. And I was birthing this human and this book at the same time. It was epic. And I just had this amazing experience and this momentum and this energy. And I know that you can feel it. Who's reading the book? Who's got the book? Somebody even wrote to me on Instagram. They were like, I can feel like I'm surrounded by your womb. And I was like, you kind of are. Because that's the energy I was in when I wrote this. And so we have these moments in our life where we're just ready to feel good. But as we know, we all experience a lot of suffering. We all experience suffering. We all have very difficult things that happen in life. We have addictions. We have health issues. We have financial struggles. We have depression. We have stuff. And that is real. But when we make the commitment to lean into feeling good, we can even be going through those dark times and still have fun along the way. And so that's what we're here to talk about tonight. And remind ourselves that it's good to feel good. Are you with me on that? It's good to feel good. It's good to feel good. Take that in and own that and feel that and make that your mantra and repeat it and believe it. And the thing is, guys, we're all super attractors. Every one of us in this room, every being in the world is a super attractor, but many of us just forgot. And so when we forget that we're a super attractor, we're pretty much doing all the things that are the opposite of being in alignment with our super attractor energy, and we block it. And I actually did this thing where I surveyed my Instagram audience, and I asked them, how many of you feel as though you're blocking your manifesting power? 96% said yes. Who in this room feels like you're blocking your manifesting power? Yeah, I can kind of see you. Yes, everybody's hands are up. Okay, thank you. So if you feel that feeling of you're blocking your manifesting power, let's begin by calling that out and getting super clear about what's up, okay? What is up with that? There's one big way that we block our manifesting power, particularly those of us in these spiritual rooms. And this is what I call the manic manifester. And you're going to know right away if this is you. This is the person who is like, oh my God, Gabby, I'm reading all the books and I'm like doing all the meditations and I'm like doing Kundalini and like I'm like mantras and I'm like feeling really good, but like I'm just not attracting what I want. Do you know who you are? I can only see the front row, but there were some honest people here. Yes, okay, good. So that manic energy, like, is that sexy? Like, no. Absolutely not. It's not sexy, it's not drawing you towards it, it's deflecting you. So it's the same way we're deflecting the love and the support of the universe when we're in that manic state of having to make it happen and forcing it to happen and trying to control the circumstances. That's that manic state that keeps us stuck, okay? So we're going to work on that tonight. Okay. And then there's the pusher. The pusher is the person who believes that if I don't make it happen, it will never happen. Pushers in the house? Yeah. Yeah. If I'm not forcing it into being, then it will not be. This is the opposite of a super attractor energy. This is an energy that is forceful, that is pushy, that is frantic, that is chaotic, that's probably making lots of mistakes and forcing and trying to make it happen. And also, this is an energy of someone who feels very alone because they don't recognize that there is support around them and they don't allow that support into their life. And I know this intimately because I am a former pusher. Not anymore. Now I'm a chiller. Then there's a big one, which is the judger. I wrote a book for you. When we're judging and comparing and separating ourselves from others, ultimately what we're doing is turning our back on the universe, turning our back on God, turning our back on the real truth, which is that we are interconnected, that we are love. And whenever we're judging, we're just judging somebody because we are not recognizing a disowned part of our own shadow. So in that place of judgment, we feel what, guys? What do you feel? What do you feel? Guilt, lonely, shame, separation, low energy, sad, uncomfortable. That energy of separation, low vibe, guilt, that doesn't feel good, right? And we now know that being a super attractor means that we are devoted to feeling good. And in that place of not feeling good, we are deflecting our super attractor power. Everybody with me? If you judgers in the house, raise your hands. Judgment detox. I wrote it for you. May want to even read it before you read this one. And then the final one is fear. And this is in all the ways we block, but this is some of the biggest ways. And fear, I mean, everybody in this room is holding on to fear of some kind. Fear, uncertainty, ways that we stay small, not feeling good enough, feeling like fear in many cases is just running the show. And so we have to begin to undo our relationship with fear tonight and through the journey of this book so that we can reframe that fear one step at a time. And we're going to begin right now to reframe, undo, and establish a new pattern instead of the pattern of fear. Are you ready for that? This is the most important step throughout the book, and it comes up throughout the book many times. And it's a method called the choose again method. And this is a method that allows you to be in this constant dialogue with your fear, with your negativity, but not in a bad way, in a really valuable, important, and life-transforming way. So the first step is going to require that you start to pay attention to the negative thoughts and the ones that you particularly have on repeat. You all know what they are. Don't pretend like you don't. So first step, noticing that fear-based thought is there. And then noticing how it makes you feel. Then the second step is to forgive yourself for having the thought. And this is a big one because often when we forgive ourselves for having that fearful thought, what we do is we recognize that we are not that story. We are not that thought. The forgiveness dissolves the thought. You can also just forgive the thought altogether. If you're feeling like, I can't forgive myself. I'm not there yet, Gabby. Forgive the thought. Just forgive the thought altogether.
I hope you're enjoying this show. And if you want to get more Gabby, you can click the link below, subscribe to my Dear Gabby podcast on Apple, be the first to know when the episodes drop because they come out 1 week before the video. And you can download it to your phone, listen to it while you're driving, while you're cooking, while you're working out. You can just get more Gabby wherever you are. And if you feel called, leave a review. I'd love to hear from you. Now let's get back to this episode.
Then the third step is to choose again. Choosing again is a simple step, but it is quite profound, and it requires our commitment and our desire to feel better. And when we choose again, what's simply happening is we're reaching for the next best feeling thought. And this is a really important message that I learned from Abraham Hicks, who are mentioned 23 times in this book, and I'm so grateful for their beautiful work that has inspired so much of this book. Yep. Choose again. Reach for that next best feeling thought. And then once you feel a little bit better, reach for another next best feeling thought. And then when you feel a little bit better, reach for the next best feeling thought. Just backstage, I'm like, wow, I really booked myself so seriously this week. And I'm feeling like, whoa, tonight, and then tomorrow, all day tomorrow, and then on a plane, and then I go to a talk that night, and I was like, what did I do? And I started getting really in it and just upset about it. And then I was like, slow down, sister. Step one. Notice the thought and feel it. How does it make me feel? It makes me feel depleted and tired and already just completely disconnected. So I forgave the thought in step two, and most importantly, forgave myself for going back into the old pattern and said, okay, we did it again. Let's just relax. And then I chose again, and I said, Gabby, you have 1,400 people coming to see you tonight in Los Angeles, and they're so pumped to hear what you have to say. You are fucking blessed, woman. And you have an opportunity to serve, and you have an opportunity to feel lit up by the work that you know is true and the work that healed you, and be a transmission for this group tonight. And tomorrow you have amazing opportunities ahead of you. So keep reaching. See what I'm reaching? And you have amazing opportunities ahead of you. And don't complain about having opportunity. And you know what? If you need to take a nap, you'll take a nap in the Uber. And you'll get a clean Uber. So that you can really nap without it smelling bad. You with me, people? You see how I just reached my way out. And I had to do that in order to come out here tonight and not feel depleted and not feel down. Just be present and be fully present with you. So we can get into the habit of choosing again. And when we get the Q&A tonight, I might offer it up to workshop with one person to choose again with you. And what happens when we start to choose again is we start to feel more synchronicity in our life. When we start to feel better, we start to notice our super attractor power amp up. And we start to feel guided, and we start to feel more connected. And I really decided this time around to push the metaphysical envelope with this book. You're ready for it. I mean, I'm in LA. Everybody's like, yes, totally. By the way, if anybody's been watching my Instagram story, I've been like really going full LA since I've been here. Like getting IVs like sent to my door and like, you know, like going to like Erewhon 95 times. And, you know, I was literally even like saging myself outside with Palo Santo and I was like, I am in LA. So, you know, when in Rome, right? So we have these moments of synchronicity and connection and guidance. And so in this book, I pushed the metaphysical envelope, and I made a decision to write about things that I've never really spoken too much publicly about. And I decided to write about what it means to me to have angel guides and spirit guides and family members that are guides and ancestors and beings of light that are there to support me. But what I also, somebody in the front's going like this. That's awesome. And so what I also decided to really share with the reader was that this doesn't have to be your way, it doesn't have to be my way. So if you don't believe in a spiritual guide, but you can believe that you have a higher self or a voice of inspiration or intuition, it can be the same. So bear with me and take what you want from this. But a really beautiful example of connecting to spirit and allowing spirit to guide you is an example of my Grammy Fritzy. Fritzy. My Grammy was the most fiery woman, much like myself. She was very petite and she was very loud, much like myself. And she just had a lot of fun, and she was very, very smart, and she was very connected, and she was really, really with it all the way through into her 90s. And Grammy and I, we would have a lot of fun together. I would go visit Grammy in Florida, and I would wear these little nightgowns with her. We would get in bed in her nightgowns that she got from China when she was on her honeymoon. And they were like these really sweet little China nightgowns, and we would get into the bed, and we would watch television and drink orange juice with ice in it, and we were just super into it. And we had fun together, and we loved each other. And then in my grandmother's early 90s, she started to get very frail, as anyone can imagine. And she had a really, really clear mind, though. And one day she fell. And we know what happens when an elderly person falls. She broke her shoulder in this case. And my mother and I were faced with two choices in this major decision for this part of her life. Is she going to live on medication and not do anything and just be medicated all the time? Or is she going to have a surgery and potentially be medicated all the time? And my mom and I were really struggling to make this decision. And it was going on for about 2 weeks of how are we going to help her? What are we going to do? Talking to doctors, trying to make the most educated decision we could. And then around that time that we were trying to figure this out, I had to go teach my Spirit Junkie Masterclass. Any Masterclass students in the house? Yeah, I hear you. I feel you in the room. So I was going to teach my Spirit Junkie Masterclass Level 2, which is a 6-day training, and I felt like, okay, you know, I got to show up for this, even though this is going on with Grammy. And I was getting my bags together to leave to get in the car, and my team was with me, and I put all my bags together, and then all of a sudden I said to them, as we were about to go walk into the car, I said, guys, hang on a second. I feel like I need to go meditate. Just give me 10. So I walked away and I went into my bedroom and I sat in this little velvet chair where I would meditate. And I just felt this deep rush of love come over me. And I felt my arms just raise up to the sky. And my arms were up in the air, up in the sky, up in the sky. And I kept feeling this energy moving from my chest and this white light just energetically coming off of me and going upwards. And then my head tilted backwards. And I just felt that I was sending something off and facilitating something. And I felt so calm and at ease and purposeful. And then I just let my hands drop and came out of my meditation when I felt complete. I walked into the living room and the phone rang. It was my mom. My mom was crying on the other end of the phone. Grammy just left her body. And I said, I know, because I helped her. I knew that I was letting something go. I knew I was helping facilitate someone leave. And at that point, I was like, okay, all right, Mom, I'm happy for her. I'm happy for her because now she can be free. Now she's in the healthiest, safest place that she could be. And then I said to my mom, okay, I got to go because I got to get in the car and go teach this training, so I'm going to figure this out. So I said to my Grammy, listen, Grammy, I'm going to mourn you when I have space to do this. But in the meantime, can you please show me a sign that you are okay? Show me a sign that you got there. It's like, okay, show me your sign. I went and I did my training. I had a beautiful week. I felt my grandmother around me. It was really connected. It felt so beautiful. And then I left the training on a Friday and drove about a half hour from there to my friend Zoe's house as I was heading back home because she was on the way. And I sat down in Zoe's kitchen with Zoe and my other friend Jenny. And Zoe kept saying to me, Gabby, I have this new Oracle deck and you have to pick a card. You have to pick a card. And I was like, Zoe, I'm texting Zach. I'm just trying to get an idea of what he wants me to bring home for dinner, and I'm trying to coordinate with him. Like, leave me alone. And she kept saying, but pick a card, Gabby. Pick a card, Gabby. And I kept saying, 1 minute. I'm on the phone. And so Jenny says, I'll pick a card for Gabby. So she puts her hand on the deck, and she pulls this card, and her face goes white. She turns the card around. The card had an image of an elderly woman crossing a bridge. The caption said, grandmother ensures safe crossing. You can't make it up. You can't make it up. And so this is how Spirit guides us. Spirit is loud and clear. If it's an angel, if it's a guide, if it's a deceased family member. And I have countless stories in the book, in this particular chapter, about how we can connect to this guidance. Countless stories of this synchronicity and this guidance. And that guidance is available to all of us in whatever form we believe in. And it's when we allow that guidance to start to enter into our life that we feel as though we are being led. And we don't feel alone anymore. You want that, I know.
If you like this video and you want to get more Gabby, check out the next one right over here.